Okay, call to order, June 10th, regular council meeting for Foxfire Village. Let the record show that all council members are present with the exception of Councilman Norman. And there are members in the audience. So let's start with an opening prayer. Councilman Gilroy.
Father, we always thank you for the privilege of being able to assemble and to operate as a village, and we thank you for that today. But I want to pray for our nation. In the hot spots we have right now, I ask you to give our National Guard troops and our Marines wisdom to do what they need to do, to de-escalate, to just do what they're supposed to do. And I just speak peace into this nation and ask you to just quell what's going on and bring us to a place where we're done rioting and we're done burning stuff and we can just move forward as a nation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes to the agenda? I have one, and I want to add to my mayor's report approval of the audit contract.
Yes.
Any others? Okay. Other than that, can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. The consent items, I would like to remove, oh, you know what, those minutes aren't even on here.
No, I mean, not, honestly, because if you have motions on them, so they don't,
Oh,
they don't consider it official.
okay, but the minutes to the May 29th meeting need to be the citizen participation workshop need to be reprinted, redone. Can I have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, moving on. Moving on to the public comment period. This is any public comments regarding anything that is not on our agenda. Please step forward and state your name and address.
Leslie Fresco, 7 Hillside Drive. I'm here today regarding the intersection of Hillside Drive and Hoffman Road. I know it has been brought up in previous council meetings. I'm here to tell you that taking down the trees is not the answer. Okay? The problem with that intersection is the design of the road and the speed with which people travel down that road. It is the curve that's there. And NCDOT isn't going to do anything to change the configuration of that road. I understand that. But there is a very small golf cart crossing sign as you approach that intersection. The primary way is if you're heading south on Hoffman Road, not north. The issue is not if you're making a right turn out of Hillside, it's if you're making a left turn. And it's because of the curve. It is not because of the trees. I'm requesting that council look into, especially since it was mentioned before, that if the new golf course owners take over, the village wants to cooperate with them. And the hope is that that back 9 is going to be opened eventually, which means there's going to be a lot more golf cart traffic going across that road. The speed with which people come down it and the inherent design in that road are the problems. And what I'm requesting is going south, where that golf cart crossing sign is, to put up a bigger sign. That golf cart crossing sign's been there for 25 years. It hasn't been adjusted It's small. It was there to accommodate a very low traffic flow on Hoffman Road, and I know this because I've lived there that long. But, you know, Pinehurst has ones that flash. I don't know what it would take to do that, but the necessary thing is to get traffic to slow down. So maybe the sign needs to be up a little more towards the curve where the problem is. There's nothing that taking down vegetation of any kind is gonna change there. It is because of the curve of the road. And you can do all the studies, NCDOT can do all the studies. People travel that road at a much higher rate than 40 miles an hour. And that makes it very dangerous, either crossing Hoffman Road or coming out of Hillside Drive if you're trying to make a left turn. So either bigger sign, more fluorescent. I'm not sure that just a golf cart crossing sign. I think a dangerous intersection sign of some kind, because drivers need to be aware of the fact that there is a street that intersects with Hoffman Road. And I think that's how things should be approached to DOT, because I know DOT's answer was, oh, we'll just take down all the trees. That's not gonna make a difference. It's that curve and the speed that people are traveling as they move south on Hoffman Road. So I'm asking council, I'm sorry that our streets and roads person is not here today, but I hope she gets the minutes properly. But I think that may help the problem if there's a bigger sign, some other kind of sign, a flashing sign, something in that nature to really warn drivers that there's a dangerous intersection coming up.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Good afternoon, George Frederick, 27 Eagle Drive. Not sure if this is the right order or the time to bring this up, but got a follow-up questions that I wanted to run by you all. What's taking so long with the pool repairs, and why have they not been completed in time for the summer season? And if they're not gonna be made if the pool's not gonna be made available to the residents yet another year, what's the adjustment or compensation for residents who are looking for a pool, who moved in here when there was a functioning pool? Second is the potable water well situation. When is that well gonna come online? And when's the next one getting started? Because we're not getting ahead of our water problem, we're still in the deficit, if I understand correctly. And new homes are popping up monthly. So what's the online target date for this new well, and when's the next one gonna get started? And lastly, today I was prepared to come and have a bit of a stronger tone about the country club, but they finally mowed the 16th fairway that I live off of. It was starting to look like a cow pasture. And we have ordinances and restrictions that the residents have to live under. Well, again, we moved into this area 5 years ago, and it looked a lot different than it does today. So I'm glad to see that the golf course maintenance staff did take care of it, but why are they allowed to let their fairways turn into cattle pastures? Thank you.
I will, address those questions, during my update. Okay, any other public comment? Right, none being, moving on to the zoning administrator's report.
The zoning activities from May 14th through today, June 10th. currently 23 homes under construction or their beginning stages. 3 new home construction permit applications were received for homes located 168 Second Wind, 315 Renwood Court, ETJ, and a home at 4 North Shamrock Drive. 2 certificate of zoning compliances were issued for a home at 209 Grand Hines Court West and 185 Vista Ridge East, both are in Grand Hines. And 1 propane tank permit application was received, and that's it.
Okay. Any questions for zoning administrator? Okay, moving on to, finance, Councilman Deloy.
Very briefly, because we have the public hearing next Tuesday. In the water fund, North Carolina Capital Management Trust account, you have just under $890,000. In the general fund with Capital Management Trust, you're at $2,966,000. First Bank currently holds $674,000. We won't go through detailed numbers tonight because, with Shannon being out of town, invoices didn't get to Jody until last Friday. So we'll brief those at the work session. Also, just a heads up on the work session, we'll have, some budget amendments to kind of true up and trim out 24, 25. And Lisa, I'll get with you and, you'll have plenty of time to do them. They'll come from me, okay? That's it.
Any questions for finance? None being, moving on to public safety, Councilman Nelson.
Okay, the police update by Chief Michael.
How's everybody doing this afternoon?
Good, thank you.
Real quick, I believe everybody has totals for the month. I didn't pull the yearly just because I'm a little strapped for time, but not a whole lot to report as far as our last month. 2 of our officers, Sergeant Kidd as well as Officer McNeil, completed a 2-day class, or excuse me, Sergeant Kidd had a 3-day class, Officer McNeil had a 2-day class. They both completed that with flying colors, and so just another little feather in their cap. We had 4 DWIs for the month, just murdering the public coming through. Many of you may already know this, but we actually had a multi-agency checking station that went on May 24th out here. It was a Saturday. We did it in the evening. We had, I believe it's 7 different agencies out here with us. We conducted 4 stations that night, 2 at a time. Yielded some pretty decent results. We got 1 DWI on that one. Numerous motor vehicle violations as well as 2 drug arrests for methamphetamine. Again, a great night. Everybody was safe. Everybody was sound. Ended up seizing a firearm as well as some Schedule I controlled substances and some marijuana. So again, great night. Great work from our village staff. And last but not least, our last thing that I wanted to kind of touch on was we've actually been in the process of writing a grant to the Governor's Crime Commission for the possibility of getting our flock cameras that we've been discussing for some time now. If we're actually able to get the grant, we wrote for 4 cameras. If that's the case, then like I said, we will, Lord willing, we'll get that and we'll actually have them implemented and put into place soon enough. We're still waiting to hear with that. I actually spoke with our grant writer yesterday. She was finalizing everything and was gonna send it on its way. So fingers crossed we'll get a hold of something with that. In Moore County, we're a tier 3 county.
Yep.
The way it kind of was written as far as their guidelines and stipulations, they're gearing more of this towards the tier 1 counties, the ones that are a little more financially impacted by, constraints. So being that we're tier 3, it's a lower chance that we may get it, but at the same time, there's still an opportunity to shoot for the stars or take what we can get sort of thing. Outside of that, that's kind of where we are currently. Any questions right now?
I have one question. The, speed traffic sign that's in front of the apartments here,
Right,
Foxfire,
yes,
yeah,
sir.
it's not working, is that?
It's a battery issue.
It is now, I know we talked about battery issues with some of the signs, are they on order or?
No, again, being that we're kind of right here at the end of our budget and everything, we're just waiting until the new year again, so we can kind of have a little more availability to pick up whatever else may be needed at that point.
Okay.
That is something that we have been in the process of speaking with the rep to figure out exactly what batteries we can put in there. If we go to any auto parts store and say, hey, we need a LiPo battery, what can we get, that sort of thing, or if it's something we need to get with it directly. they're hard people to get a hold of as far as any kind of technical support, but like I said, it's something we have with.
Okay,
Anything else? All right,
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Okay, the fire department, there's nobody here, and I don't have any report. Anything about negotiations going on, you want to talk about it all?
not at this point, no,
Okay.
nothing's been finalized at this point.
All right, that's all I got.
Moving on, to water department, Councilman Morgan.
I really don't have anything to add since our last meeting. There's going to see some activity out on Hoffman at the 1213 site. Beginning this week and the next several weeks. The contractor's going to focus on finishing that project up. So,
How long does he think that's gonna take?
he's got probably about a month's worth of work.
So we got approved?
We still don't have state approval. We're gonna go ahead and do all the construction and, we just not make the, connection out of the main. We have a verbal from the state. It should just be a matter of getting them scheduled to come out and do the inspection once everything's done.
So we expect the construction to be done by July, in July.
Probably the end of July.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Onto my report. One thing, we did receive the contract for audit, and that has to be approved by the council. Our auditor will be Ken Anderson of Anderson, Wilkie, Smith and Wilkie, and they quoted us, the price, the same price as last year, which is, fourteen.
They upped it a little bit, but that's not much.
Okay, 14 or 14, not to exceed 14.5,
14.5.
which will be split between the two departments. So, I need a motion to enter into this contract.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? None being, this contract was approved on June 10th. So I will get this signed, and you've got to sign it too. And I think Jody does as well. Next, a 4th of July update I have, which is, in conjunction with the Foxfire property FPOA, we are going to, work in conjunction with them, and the event will be held at the park. It won't be held at the pool as originally planned, because we're not really sure of the exact date of the pool opening at this point. So, that's the biggest change. I know that, Sally said that the FPOA had a meeting, and they have a lot of events scheduled. It seems like a fun day. So, fire department, bocce, bucket ball. So, encouraging all citizens to attend. And there is a charge. It will be $10 per the FPOA members and $20 for non-members. So,
That's per family, right?
well, it doesn't
Per
say on here
household,
per
per
family.
household.
Okay, so it is, per household, yes. You're right. So that's that. Now, as far as the comments that were made, during the public, comment period, there's a few things that, they're pretty straightforward. So Leslie, thank you for that information, and we'll see if there's something that we can do to get people to slow down with signs, I don't know if we need approval from the state to put signs on a state road like that. Maybe moving a speed sign there, maybe a little bit more police presence would be helpful, but obviously we can't be there 24/7, so we need to do something. As far as the, what's taking so long on the pool, and we've stated this in other council meetings, but the weather, they've been working on this pool since the middle of winter, really, between the pump house and all the other removal of plaster and all of that. With the weather the way it's been, And with the weather around the state, it's been very challenging, not only for, our project, but for many projects. They get pushed around because of the weather, especially with outdoor pools. So we're relying on our contractors, and they, believe me, they wanna get these jobs done as well. So, as the weather cooperates, work will continue. And there really is no compensation for the pool not being open. These are things that we need to repair. And it's a repair, it's unpredictable. We said it was gonna be unpredictable when we started the project. Anything you're doing outside, that needs, whether it's temperature conditions or rain conditions, is very unpredictable. And as far as the new well, again, the state is in control of that. We're doing the best we can to get that up and running, and, we're moving ahead with the construction of the pump house as per state guidelines. Everything is controlled by the state, and the state is, we're doing the best we can to move that along.
You know, I don't mean to interrupt, but one thing we need to keep in mind is, you know, we're still being impacted to a far less degree than the people who live in the western part of our state.
Right.
I just watched the news the other night, and they were talking about Chimney Rock. The folks in Chimney Rock still do not have potable drinking water. And so, if you can think about the state, they're taking the resources that they have, their engineers, their approval processes. You know, right after the hurricane, first part of the cleanup, there were over 100 well permits applied for. And that's in that one county, where the city of Asheville is located. I'm sure those permits went to the top of the list, and our permit probably got slid down. And we just need to keep that in mind, that, we're a small community, and our priorities are probably, a little bit different than, you know, we need more water because our outdoor use in the summertime skyrockets. We double our production. That's probably not a high priority compared to people who don't have drinking water. So, I just mentioned that. Again, it's a good time to put in another shot for conservation, even though we've had a lot of rain in the last several weeks. In fact, May was one of the wettest Mays we had. We're kind of fortunate it was that. But you still see people out watering lawns. From what I'm not a lawn care expert by no means, but I understand if you have a heavy rain or significant rainfall, you can go a week without watering. But it'll rain and you'll see people out watering the next day. All I ask is people use water prudently, that's all.
And
We aren't voluntary, it's a voluntary.
Right.
And if I'm sure if everybody, just does their part, you know, we can stay away from stage 2 and hopefully stage 3 restrictions. We don't wanna go through what we went through last year.
And one thing too, water, irrigation system control panels can be extremely difficult and confusing for people, especially if you're in a new home or you're not familiar with it. I suggest just turning your system off.
During rain, yes.
If it's been raining, just turn your system off, and then you can turn it back on when it gets dry again. But it's an easy way to just, alter your watering schedule. The new well, there's a lot to be, with our new well, we'll get it up and running.
Right.
As far as our next well, that is going to occur once we get this new well up and running and online. Then there's a whole bunch of testing that has to be, we have
Sure.
to drill another hole, then you have to, so there's a process to that, and we will be doing that as soon as we can. We do have a plan.
And on the 5 acres we own off of, Hoffman and Woodland, within the next probably 30 days, we'll be putting down the pilot hole.
Mhm.
And the pilot hole will give us information we need to determine if it's gonna be affected by well 13, the well that's under construction right
Mhm.
now. And so, you know,
And there's testing you need to we are, that's the that's where we're going with that. The condition of the golf course, again, as far as what we see from the road is what we can enforce. It's like any other property, because it's a personal property. It's not owned by the town, so if they've got areas of the golf course that we can't see from the road, I mean, we can't enforce that they mow their golf course. Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but,
Well, and that's a recreational district, I'm not quite sure.
Right.
Ours is geared towards residential,
right,
And we didn't really write anything in
Or-
recreational that
No.
governed how the golf course mows. I mean, that would be, there's no way
For us
that we
to-
could do that.
Right.
right.
And then, again, we're not turf management experts when it comes to zoning, and so, there could be reasons why they either didn't mow or couldn't mow. Could have been too wet, because you can't mow when it's too wet, right? Well, that's an old issue. But again, the golf course is up for sale, as far as we know, has not been sold yet, as we know. And that's about as much control as we have over that situation.
I just found out from the manager at the golf course that all the liquor licenses were transferred over to Pine Hills today.
Okay,
Well, that's a good sign.
that is a good sign. That's a sure sign something's going on.
Something's going on.
That's the last thing they wanna do when they got done.
Well, that's good news. So we will keep our spirits up on that. No pun intended.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Can't whine about that, right?
Yeah. Oh, gee. All right, now we're
Let's move on,
digressing.
move on, move on.
Okay, any questions for me?
No.
No? There's no new business. The old business, we have our water conservation, ordinance amendment. So, Councilman Morgan.
All we did was, we updated the ordinance that hadn't been in place. The ordinance, as it previously, written, pertained to the water shortage plan that was submitted to the state by a professional engineer, and submitted back, the original was submitted back in 2007, I believe. Back in 2023, we updated the plan, submitted the new plan to the state, that plan's approved. That's the plan that we're working off of right now. So now we have to update the ordinance to reflect the new plan. That's all the ordinance. The only changes that have been made is that the language now refers to the current in-place water shortage supply plan on file with the state.
Okay.
It's just those first two paragraphs that we changed.
No, that's.
And then we also added the water shortage supply plan is also part of that ordinance. That's, we took out the old language, put the new language in.
Right. So this is just equal to so we need a.
We're just updating it, that's all.
Okay.
So we need a.
So I'm gonna make a motion that, we approve the, ordinance amending chapter 19 water conservation, and it's, amendment number, or ordinance number 2025-08.
I seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No?
No.
Okay. Are you saying no, or are
I'm
you?
not saying no, I'm feeling like I missed something. Like, when did we get this draft?
Probably last summer.
This
A year
draft?
ago.
Yeah.
This has been going on since last fall, last summer, last fall. We tabled a lot, we worked on it. We went through it line by line, probably last fall.
You all agreed to the wording, and I have to
Right.
draft up an ordinance amendment.
We've had the attorneys
Okay,
reviewed it.
then then I'm fine, I'm just kinda
This-
going, man,
all we're
we were
doing
supposed to
is
review this
making the
recently,
decision.
I don't remember it.
I think the email went out on the fifth with this new, not new, but the draft, but we have been talking about this. Warren was
Okay.
gone for quite a while, so we've
Then
gone
I'll
through
vote in
it.
favor of.
Okay, opposed? Okay, none being, this is approved. Okay, public comment for items that were on the agenda. Are there any public comments for anything that's been discussed? None being, motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?